Hello, BookTube. This is Weekly Reads. My reading week has been both great and terrible. I'm going to start with what was great and end with what was terrible and contemplate the lessons learned from the terrible part of my reading week. So, last week I read all of Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle, and this week I started my reading week with 2 volumes of manga. Gokurakugai Volume 3 by Yuto Sano, and Eden Zero Volume 30 by Hiro Mashima. Gokurakugai is a new series. It's set in a very weird town. It's about 2 troubleshooters, Tao and her ward, Alma. The duo take on various jobs throughout the town, but they also moonlight as monster hunters. There are monsters called Maga that prey on the humans and beast people who live in this city. Alma himself is partially a Maga. He's a human form Maga or half Maga, and he has certain superhuman abilities that are restricted to certain times when Tao allows him to utilize his abilities. They work for a secret organization that is dedicated to hunting down these monsters. In this volume, Alma has befriended a young woman named Kanata, who is herself a human form Maga, and she's trying to resist the urge to eat human flesh, to eat people. Unfortunately, she fails, and Alma is assigned to sort of investigate her case, only just realizing that she's his friend. It's at this point that a family of human form Maga are introduced, led by a mysterious man named Yomi, who is the cover model for Volume 3. And he displays a number of superhuman abilities, and he desires both Kanata and especially Alma to join his family. And he has the ability to force Alma's kind of magification to tragic results. And it's at this point that Tao begins to investigate this family of human form monsters, and Alma begins to train in his ability so that he doesn't need Tao's permission or intervention in order to use his abilities. I really enjoyed this volume. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to Volume 4, and I think I'm going to reread the first 3 volumes before Volume 4 comes out, because I'm not entirely sure when that is, and the volumes seem to be spread out a little too far apart. I wish they came out a bit closer together. But anyway, this was a lot of fun. But oh my, Eden Zero Volume 30 was amazing. So, Eden Zero is one of Hiro Mashima's recent series. It has recently ended a few months ago, and the final volume should be coming out in the new year, if not bleeding over into 2026. Eden Zero is about a young man named Shiki, who is the adoptive grandson of an android named Ziggy, who acts as the demon lord of a tourist planet populated by androids. One day, a young woman named Rebecca and her Exceed companion Happy come to the planet in order to film videos for her B-Cube channel, and the androids appear to malfunction and try to kill Rebecca and Happy. Shiki intervenes, and the trio flee the planet. They then become adventurers, looking for a way to find Mother, a great, gigantic, cosmic goddess figure. Shiki, Rebecca, and Happy form a crew on the Eden Zero, and they go in pursuit of Mother, while also trying to stop the machinations of a resurrected Ziggy, who has since taken on an anti-organic life form agenda. In the primary universe, Ziggy is defeated, but they are told that the only way to rescue Mother, to save her, is to travel to a new universe, Universe Zero, where they have their final adventure. And here in Volume 30, the crew of the Eden Zero are going on a quest to path to find Mother, when they are attacked by the Eden's One, the Eden Zero's sister ship, and controlled by the malevolent artificial intelligence that took possession of Ziggy. Ziggy is aided by, or the Eden Zero, and its artificial intelligence Void is aided by a group of interstellar criminals called the Orient Galactica, which in earlier universes were independent outlaws. But in this universe, they are all subservient to the Eden's One and Void. So the Eden's One and God Noella, one of the Orient Galactica, are attacking the Eden Zero. And it's at this point where a number of battles split off. Amongst the crew of the Eden Zero are 4 androids called the 4 Shining Stars, who perform various functions on the ship. They are engaged by their opposite numbers, the 4 Dark Stars. And there are hints that there's more to these 8 androids than there appears to be, or than has been revealed so far. Several of the crew engaged the dragons under God Noella's control, with Kagura. With some fights prepared on, and Shiki invades the Eden's One, where he is confronted by another one of the Orient Galactica, Lightning Law, and they have an intense battle, which is awesome. And later, Laguna kind of inserts himself and has a go at Lightning Law, and that is amazing, just amazing. And the volume ends with Shiki throwing down with Void and one heck of a cliffhanger. It was just, when I finished this volume, and throughout reading this volume and afterwards, I was giddy. I absolutely had a blast with this. It was so much fun. So much fun. It was a joy to read. Now, on Sunday, I read 2 more volumes of manga. Volumes 8 and 9 of Record of Ragnarok by Azychika, Shinya Umemura, and Takumi Fukui. So, Record of Ragnarok is a manga series about the gods trying to destroy humanity for all of humanity's various sins. Brunhilde, the leader of the Valkyrie, objects to the gods' plans and invokes a tournament called Ragnarok, which gives humanity a chance to stave off extermination, by selecting 13 human champions, the Einherjar, to challenge the representatives of the heavens, 13 selected gods. At this point, when Volume 8 begins, the score is tied. Two gods have defeated their human opponents, and two humans have defeated their godly opponents, with the fourth match being very, very sad and heartbreaking for everybody involved. The fifth match sees Shiva representing the gods, and he is taking on one of the great sumo wrestlers, Raiden Tamimon, who is a blast. I mean, both Shiva and Raiden are really awesome. And I really enjoyed delving into both Raiden, but especially Shiva's backstory, which is one thing that during the fights the series does, is they delve into key moments in the lives of the fighters. Also at this time, there's something going on with Buddha and Loki's suspicions about him. And it's building up for the next fight. And it was a lot of fun. Really a lot of fun. Looking forward to more Record of Ragnarok, which I currently have. They're just boxed up, which I will talk about probably in a few weeks. Okay, so that's the manga I read, and I had a blast with all of them. And I really should have just kept on reading manga, but I didn't. And I'll get to that here in a bit, but let's talk instead about what was not so great about my reading week. Well, actually, let me talk a bit about what I'll be reading this coming reading week. So, I think today I'm going to have another go at Tokyo Revengers by Ken Wakui. This is a series about a young man who, when he was in junior high, he was a delinquent who found himself dragged into the gang lifestyle for about a year before he ran away and got out of it. Although in the 10 years since, his life has been pretty terrible, until he hears that his childhood girlfriend was killed, and he then develops the ability to go back 10 years in time, and he and his girlfriend's brother in the present decide to try to change the past. I've had several goes at this, and it hasn't quite connected with me. Hopefully this next attempt will work. I'm also going to, over the weekend, read 6 more volumes of Bleach, starting with volume 25 by Tite Kubo. Bleach is one of the great manga series. It's about a young man named Ichigo Kurosaki who can see and interact with ghosts. One day he meets a young woman named Rugyo Kochiki, who is a Shinigami, a Soul Reaper. Her job is to send the souls of the deceased and wandering souls to the Soul Society. She's also tasked with cleansing spirits who have lingered in the mortal world too long and have become fallen, called hollows. A hollow is attacking Ichigo's house, and in order to defeat the hollow, Rukia has to transfer her power to Ichigo, transforming him into, at the time, a substitute Soul Reaper. Although that status does not last for long, although he does remain a Soul Reaper. I have been loving this series, so I'm quite looking forward to reading more. And I will be on Sunday having another go at the first 6 volumes of Orient by Shinobu Ohataka. Orient is set in an alternate time period in Japan in which demons have overthrown Japan and have conquered it and have enslaved the human population under the guise that they are gods. However, 2 young men, Musashi and Kojiro, want to rise up in rebellion. So, I've had, again, a few goes at this. Hasn't quite worked out. I'm hoping this go will be a lot more successful. And over the course of the work week, I'm planning on reading 3 more volumes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean by Hirohiko Araki. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean is part of the extended JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series. It's about a young woman named Jolene Kujo who is falsely accused and convicted of a crime she did not commit and is imprisoned in Green Dolphin Street prison, where she comes under the authority of a man who has been manipulating the charges against her in order to draw out her father for personal revenge and also to achieve his own ends. I've read the first 3 volumes and quite enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to reading more of Stone Ocean. Now, let's get on to what did not please me this reading week, which was pretty much my pile for Remember December and Bell Redemption December. So last year, there were 2 BookTube events that have not carried over into this year. One was Remember December. The other one was a variation on Bell Redemption December. Over the last few years, I myself have tried to reread books that I have bailed on, what I call Bell Redemptions, in the month of December. So, there was an event similar to it, so I participated, although I called mine just stuck with Bell Redemption December. So, a few weeks ago, I created a pile over here for what I would be reading to coincide with Bell Redemption December and Remember December. And my choices were terrible. So I'm going to start with CB Cavafy, the collected poems. I read this a few years ago, and I remember rather liking it. And this reread, it was okay. But reading it right after Eden Zero Volume 30, this just, it was like there was no comparison. It just, I was thinking throughout the whole time I was reading this, is this it? Is, like, I'm just, it didn't do anything for me, this reread. And I was bummed about that. Although at least I managed to finish it, which I cannot say for my Bell Redemption attempt of A Kiss for the Absolute by Shuzo Takiguchi, translated from the Japanese by Mary Jo Bang and Yuki Tanaka. So, Shuzo Takiguchi, so I tried to read this book a few months ago, and hit a brick wall with the prose pieces. About half the poems in here are prose pieces. But this attempt, even the not prose pieces did not work for me. I really did not like this collection at all. So I think this will probably be going away. And then on Sunday, I attempted to reread The Night of the Iguana by Tennessee Williams. So, The Night of the Iguana is set in late 1930s, early 1940s Mexico. Maxine is a recently widowed proprietor of a second or third rate hotel who has a relationship with a former priest named Shannon, who has since become a tour guide, who has himself descended from really great tour guide company to a second or third rate one. Shannon is charged with taking a group of tourists from a Texas women's Christian college on a tour of Mexico. During the tour, he has a relationship with the one minor of the party. Why she's there, I don't know, but she's there. And so the rest of the party has turned against him for this statutory rape and also for a number of other issues. Trying to escape everything, he basically strands his tour group at this hotel. Why he didn't just give the other guy the keys to the bus and told him to just take them and I quit, I don't know. But anyway, there's also some German tourists who are there. Why exactly the parents of the bride are there for a honeymoon, I don't know. I mean, it's implied that they're actually spies, but still. And a traveling artist and her poet father are also there, and they can't pay their way. So a whole bunch of annoyances happen, and eventually things kind of sort of get resolved. Clearly, I did not manage to reread this, which is something that I've been thinking about. So I first read this 20 years ago, and I remember it quite fondly. Now, that was during the period when I was most interested in and most enjoyed the kind of books that I call classics, modern and contemporary fiction, poetry, and drama. And ever since then, I have largely struggled to really enjoy not only new works in that grouping, but also in rereads. There are the occasional exceptions, but for the most part, I don't get on with them. And over the last few years, there are moments when I get a hankering to try my luck again, to add more to my collection, and after the failure of The Night of the Iguana, which just the first time I tried to when I tried a few months ago to reread it for the first time in 20 years, and this time it was so annoying. There were so many things that annoyed me that I don't remember annoying me the first time I read it. I mean, the same thing is largely true also of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I had my issues with that one too, although I did manage to reread it. So, yeah. So it was fairly frustrating, although it did lead to a bit of a kind of a revelation of why I keep, I think why I keep kind of, why over the last few years at least, I periodically have these urges to re engage with classics, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, and drama, even though I don't really enjoy it. Well, I don't enjoy it at all. So, anyway, let's go put this one aside. Now, again, at this point, I should have just read manga. But I did want to at least put in the effort to look at some of the other classics, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, and drama I had in this pile. So, I ultimately determined that I really did not want to reread and Bell Redeem The Rat by Gunter Grass, translated by Rolf Mannheim, or My Name is Red by Orhan Pamuk, translated by Erdak M. Goknar, or Bell Redeem Kairos by Janne Erpenbeck, translated by Michael Hoffman. So, that's that. And a quick rundown. So, The Rat's a weird novel about a film producer who is trying to make a film about various fairy tales while having a recurring dream of a post-apocalyptic wasteland in which his pet rat has become something of a school teacher. At the same time, a group of women are doing research on a boat. My Name is Red is about miniaturists at the Ottoman court. And Kairos is about a toxic relationship between a young woman and a much older author who has some secrets. And finally, so my plan was to devote the work week, Monday through today, to Sunny Days by David Kamp. Sunny Days is the story of the birth of educational children's programming in the late 1960s and through the 1970s, focusing quite heavily on the development of Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, as well as the other children's programming that put on by PBS, The Electric Company, and Zoom, as well as Schoolhouse Rock, which was more of a commercial venture, and local programming, which have largely faded from public mind. I remember this book being a delightful read and probably one of my favorite books from 2022. Or 2021. One of the two. But I could not get into my reread. I wasn't interested in that. I think really hammers home the fact that my tastes have again changed, and right now I'm not really all that interested in history. And that's given me some trepidations about some ideas I had to reread some other works of history to try to reignite my enjoyment of the history that I have not read in my collection. So I don't quite know what to do. But I was fairly disappointed. So that was my reading week. It had some highs and it had some lows. And on the bright side with the lows, at least I think I now know pretty much why I keep coming back to classics, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, drama, even though I don't like them. And I think I've also fully recognized that my tastes have moved away from history. So, how that's going to shape my reading for 2025, I don't know. I don't want to devote my entire 2025 to just manga. I don't want to overdo it. But I don't know where I'm going to go outside of my manga reading. So, Anime BookTube, that's all I have for this week. Thank you. Have a great rest of your afternoon and evening and weekend. And I will see you on Monday with some new videos. So until then, thank you and stay safe.